Good afternoon, everyone. We are excited to have another WBC New Growth Women's Business Center webinar. This is February's webinar, and we are excited to partner with the SBA out of the Kansas City district office. We've got Christian Thadini here from the Springfield branch. He is going to be educating us on financing your small business. I am Lakin Coleman. I am with the New Growth Women's Business Center. I do business counseling for them. I specialize in live plan and business planning. So for all of your business planning needs, definitely get a hold of us. We also have a microloan fund program, which I'm sure will be touched on in today's presentation. And we look forward to hearing the ins and outs of all of the opportunities that Christian has to present today. This webinar is going to be live, and we want you guys to be as interactive as possible. So please leave your questions and answers in that Q&A, and we will try to get with you on those as soon as we can. If not, we will definitely address all of them at the end. We are just looking forward to learning with Christian, and my slides won't change. There's always technical difficulties. Here's some information about the New Growth Women's Business Center. This will be displayed at the end if you guys want to write it down. We are excited to work with you. You can also contact any of the SBA offices, as we are a nonprofit organization funded by the SBA. So we work closely with them. And again, this webinar is being recorded. The link will be sent out via YouTube and email to anyone who is registered. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Christian. And thank you. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm going to stop.
Lakin, thank you very much for that warm welcome. We are joined today by the District Director, Michael Barrera. Michael has a few words for us. Michael, take it away.
Thank you, Christian. And thank you, everybody, for having me here today. As he said, my name is Michael Barrera, and I got my red on today. As you can all see, because it's a big game on Sunday, so I'm getting in the mood. But I'm the District Director of the Kansas City District Office for the SBA. I also want to thank the New Growth Women's Business Center for arranging this important webinar on financing your business. They're great partners. You know, there's so many facets to financing a business. A lot depends on your credit history, your type of business, where you are in your business journey. Are you a new business, growing, expanding? The reason for your loan, is it for payroll, startup costs, equipment, facilities? We're going to be looking at, you need to look at your firm experience and capability. There's so many things that go into it. And we're so glad we have an opportunity to talk to you about that. You know, we couldn't do what we can do without partners like New Growth. And we're ready here to assist you. We want to be sure and let you know, and be sure and let us know your business needs and challenges. You know, we've been reaching out to our partners throughout our district. You know, even though we're the Kansas City District Office, that doesn't really tell the whole story. As you'll find out, we cover 89 counties in western half of Missouri and the eastern third of Kansas. Out of those 89 counties, only 7 would be considered what we call urban oriented, and the rest are rural or ex-urban. So we want to hear from everyone, and as far as your challenges and the needs that you have. We look forward to a successful webinar. Thank you so much for having me, and we'll turn it back to Christian, and we look forward to hearing all your information. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. I'm going to get right into it today. I'm going to share my screen. Lakin tells me there are 10 people on the call, so I am going to go ahead and tell you that open up the chat, let you know that if you would like to ask a question, Lakin, please let me know if there's questions that pop up in the chat as we go through. Questions, conversation, these types of things are encouraged. I do want to hear from you during the conversation. I want to be able to provide you the most relevant information that you're looking for. And so please help me do that. Please go ahead and ask your questions of me. And I just closed off my PowerPoint, so apologize.
If things ran smoothly, we'd be robots.
There you go. All right, so I've got it back open. All right, so everything should look good. Lakin, can you tell me, are you seeing a big blue screen on the
yes,
big blue screen? Okay, very
big
good.
blue screen with your logo.
So this is Kansas City District Office information. This is our general phone number. Our Twitter, sba.gov/mo is our website address. All product information is current as of today. So yeah, I work in the Springfield branch office of the Kansas City District Office. I'm based here in Springfield. I live and work in Springfield. I do a lot of outreach here in Springfield. I work with New Growth on occasion. I'm also involved with some of the other SBA related organizations, and yeah, that's a little bit about me. So the Small Business Administration, we do a few different things. So we maintain the United States economy by helping new and existing small businesses grow and create jobs. We view ourselves as a job creator. That's very important to us. Aid and counsel, assist and protect the interest of small business. So some of that means that we listen. So the director asked me, and we were talking about it. I like to report back to him issues that small businesses are experiencing. The director is monitoring the chat. If you guys have something that is truly affecting your business, or what, if there is something out there that is affecting your small business, as we transition out of COVID here and move through 2023, please document that in the chat. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. To help small business, so we do some recovery. When the tornadoes went through Joplin, Missouri, which everybody remembers that about 10 years ago, the Small Business Administration was on the ground helping the folks at Joplin recover from that natural disaster. Small businesses are very important to the United States economy. 99.7% of all firms with paid employees are small businesses. So they make up the majority of small businesses, and they account for much of the job creation. So again, what do we do at the Small Business Administration? We have education, information, technical assistance, training, counseling. We do access to capital. So I promise you I'm going to talk mostly about that today, but I don't want to leave out the other parts that the Small Business Administration does, because there are things that maybe one or two of you might get assistance from some of these other things, and I don't want to not mention it. Certifications and disaster recovery. So when we talk about that free quality education, information, technical assistance, and training provided to small business, the Small Business Administration funds organizations such as the Women's Women's Business Center, New Growth Women's Business Center, sorry, Lakin. We fund them. We fund some other organizations, which I'm going to touch on here. These organizations help you plan, launch, manage, and grow your business. We also have significant resources available on our web at no cost to you, so that you can use these tools to advance your business and plan, launch, manage, and grow your business. Some of the other things that are not included on this slide that are very important for small businesses: succession planning. Why is that important, or what is that? Succession planning is where, maybe you want to sell your business to a long-term employee or to a family member. How do you prepare your business? How do you prepare that incoming owner at best to operate that business and continue the legacy? All right. So some of our resource partners include small business development centers. I've got a list of the ones located in Southwest Missouri. I'm going to go over that next. We have SCORE, Southwest Missouri SCORE, and I've got their website, and we can include that with you too. We have the Women's Business Center here in Southwest Missouri, and there's also an organization called VetBiz. VetBiz is based out of St. Louis and provides technical assistance and training to veterans. Are there any veterans are there any fellow veterans on the call? I served in the Army, so throw it in the chat if you're a veteran, be recognized. We appreciate your service. So I'm going to give this copy of the slides to Lakin. She can distribute it after. I've included some links. So at the State Fair Community College in Missouri, that's in Sedalia, there is a small business development center. It's run by Kelly, and Paige works out of the Camdenton Osage Beach area. So they provide areas and they provide technical training and assistance in that corner of the Southwest Missouri. We have Missouri State has a small business development center that's located here in Springfield. They have locations in West Plains, Taney County, and in Branson, and in Springfield. The headquarters or the main branch is here in Springfield. The Missouri Small Business Development Center at MSSU. There is a small business development center in Joplin. It covers the southwest corner of Missouri and K-State, Pittsburgh State, Kansas. Just across the border in Kansas, there is a small business development center. So I've highlighted new growth, not because they're our host today, but this is actually something I have on my slides. New growth helps folks specifically in these counties. And if you are located in these counties, you can reach out to New Growth and they can provide the technical training and assistance that you might need to help plan, grow your business. And finally, SCORE. You can sign up for with all of these organizations, you can sign up for a no-cost appointment, sit down and talk to somebody, and it won't cost, they won't give you a bill afterwards. I'd like to say free, but these are all taxpayer-funded organizations. Outside of SCORE, SCORE does get a small amount of money. However, those are volunteers. The other organizations on this list are funded by the Small Business Administration and other funders. We give them some of their funding. They get some of their funding from elsewhere. However, as a result of our funding, you can get a no-cost consultation at a place, hopefully that's near you at one of these organizations. So it's very important. So I'm going to start from talking about funding. And so, Lakin, have we gotten any information in the chat about any of the small businesses? Can I take a breather and ask you, is there anything in the chat going so far?
So far, it's all clear.
Nothing, huh?
Nothing.
All right. So let me ask this. If you have an existing business, if you'll please say something in the chat. If you have are thinking of starting up a business, please say so in the chat. I'd like to get a feel for, and it's hard when it's electronic like this, I'd like to get a feel for how long you've been in business and, you know, what drew you to, what do you want to hear about today? What drew you to here? What are you looking to find out? So the Small Business Administration, our signature lending program is the 7A loan program. The 7A loan program, you can get a loan with the 7A loan program to purchase an existing business. You can do funding for a startup business. The next one, a lot of people always ask me, what's this leasehold improvement? What is that? That would be if you were renting a space and need to put in new floors and, you know, or change some of the walls around. If you're building out rented space, that would be leasehold improvements. As you can imagine, if you get $50,000 to build out rented space, that can be a hard loan to get because your lender can't necessarily repossess those improvements. So a 7A loan is actually one of the ways that a lot of people who are, you know, building maybe a franchise restaurant has to be built out to a certain specification. There's, you know, the loan displays a shortage of collateral because a lot of that is going into build out of rented space. A 7A loan is a good fit for that type of loan. We provide, we also facilitate working capital lines of credit, purchase machinery and equipment, and refinance debt. Refinancing has to be done. If we're refinancing debt, it has to be business debt in the 7A loan program. You have to be improving the terms of the said debt. So we don't want to put you in a worse position with that, with a 7A loan. We look at those very carefully, and if we're refinancing debt, we want to see either lower payments, lower interest, some way that this new loan will improve your cash flow versus the last loan that you had. So we have provided, we don't necessarily provide, we facilitated more than 62,000 loans totaling $43 billion to small businesses last year. And we, in Kansas City District Office alone, and remember Michael said we're about 2/3 of Missouri and about 1/3 of Kansas. We did 400 million. We didn't do them, we facilitated them here in the Kansas City District Office. And so I'm going to talk about some of the requirements of that small business. My slide advanced on me. I didn't mean to necessarily advance it, but it went.
We do have some answers. It looks like Nathan said that they're a large small business that has been in operation for 3 years, mainly looking at finance management, how to manage growth and expansion while staying lean financially. And then we had a couple that it looks like are startup / at the beginning stages. One person said they need education on how to fund, how to get involved to get back as well. Also trusted loans and organizations and banks.
Very good. I'm going to talk through a lot of that. So I'm going to talk through trusted organizations and banks. I can't give you a reference to any one bank because so just like yourselves, they're all taxpayers. So I can't tell you I prefer one over the other. However, New Growth has relationships with many of the bankers in the area. New Growth can help you not only connect you with a lender that you would need to go to, but when you go to get a commercial loan, and if you're going for a 7A loan and you're going to a bank to speak to a commercial lender, it's a little different than when you go for a mortgage loan and you just put your information online and they run your credit and they look at your pay stubs and they say yay or nay based on those base pieces of information. They give you a maximum loan amount that you can go look for. A commercial loan is different. And let's talk about some of the reasons why that's different. First of all, your ultimate source of repayment is no longer a pay stub. Most people, when you're going into business or you're going to start a business, most people understand that new business venture is going to be the repayment of those loans. So you need some projections and business plans, and you need to have them sufficient enough to, you need to have something on paper sufficient enough to not only convince the lender that you're looking at, but convince the people in his organization or her organization that your loan is a good one for that organization to take. So previously I was a commercial lender, and if somebody walked in and asked me for a loan, even if it was a smaller loan, I would have to listen to them, talk to them about their project. The most well-prepared loan applicants had a business plan, even if it wasn't a 12-page with documents and diagrams. They articulately listed out their ideas for this business, were able to write out, both with words and numbers, how they were going to repay the loan. And then they were able to sit down and articulate that with me. And they had to overcome a few barriers to that loan if you're walking into a bank. The first is you have to convince the person that you're speaking to that this loan is something they want to take on. The second is you have to convince somebody you don't even get to know, you don't even get to meet. In many cases, you don't even know who they are. We take them to a committee, we present them to committee, and they say yay or nay. And oftentimes they're looking your notes not only provide your business plan, your projections, not only provide stuff for those people to look at, but it also provides that loan officer something to look at. So when they go to committee and they're asking questions and you remember what everything you said, but you don't always get it. But if you've articulated it well on a business plan that's easy to read and there are notes for that guy to walk in front of that committee, then he or she is going to feel confident walking into that committee presenting your loan. If the paperwork you're pushing across the table to that person doesn't answer a lot of the basic questions or articulate some of this stuff, they're not going to want to walk into committee into that uncertain situation to present that loan. So that's how, whether it's a 7(a) SBA loan, whether it's a conventional loan with the bank, if you're going to get a loan, a commercial loan at the bank, that's how that process kind of looks. And, that's why it's important to be well prepared for that meeting. The next thing I would tell you is that when that business plan and having everything prepared is very important so that you can make a good impression and go forward. I guess I've said enough about that. So that's how, if you do a conventional loan, but if there are other lenders, and I'll talk about them in a while, that are called micro lenders. Micro lenders are an excellent way to get a smaller loan amount and don't have necessarily the stringent requirements a conventional lender would have. Oh, I was going to mention one other thing about a conventional lender. So when you go in and you're trying to convince that person that this is a good loan, most people don't realize when you're getting a loan through a bank, many times. So if you were, let's go back to my real estate example. You get a loan through a real estate agent or a real estate mortgage person, and then 6 months down the road, you start having problems. They don't really want to talk to you. They're like, I don't do that. I just get your loan approved. And by then the loan's been sold to 3 different companies sometimes anyways. You have to call in and talk to somebody in the background. Or if you're running late on that loan, and let's say it's not even that much late, it's not the loan officer that made that loan. He has no skin in this. He or she has no skin in that game. If you run late in 3 months, it doesn't matter. If they've made that loan, they get paid on it. They're a commissioned salesperson. A commercial business, a business banker, a commercial loan officer is different. When I was commercial lender, I had over 150 accounts and loans in my portfolio. And if any of them were late, it was me who was calling them. If you weren't answering the phone and you were running further and further behind, it was me who had to do some of the servicing actions to try to induce you to pay. And finally, if you didn't pay and we had to refer this loan to the attorneys and try to sell any collateral or repossess any collateral, again, that commercial loan officer is responsible for managing that, kind of overseeing that process. And that can take a lot of time from going out and, getting loans. So you really have to, when you're convincing the commercial loan officer, you're not just convincing them that you know what you're talking about. You have to convince them that this loan ultimately is going to pay. And a lot of people don't get that. So I've spent a few minutes talking through that. But that's kind of what happens at a bank. And I just wanted to give you guys some of that idea. So basic eligibility requirements for an SBA loan include, we don't do not-for-profits, only the United States, be small based on regulatory size requirements. They're very generous. You'd be surprised who qualifies as small. Demonstrate a need for desired credit. What that means is, I get it, you're coming to me asking me for a loan, but I have to say why this loan wouldn't be available conventionally before we consider for an SBA loan and an SBA guarantee. The SBA does not want to just go through and guarantee every loan out there. We want to guarantee the loans that wouldn't get done unless they have an SBA guarantee on them. Owners must be of good character. We have there has been some talk around this, but this refers to criminal history. People who are, have felonies in their background or are currently have, parole, probation, those types of things may be a hindrance under the 7A loan program for an SBA loan. So while the SBA is not a substitute for available collateral, we are not a collateral lender, meaning if there is a collateral shortfall, that is not a reason for us to turn down the loan. It doesn't mean that, hey, we do loans if you have, enough collateral to secure the loan, but you only want to give us these pieces of that collateral, we will make it for you. No, we're not in that. You have to take all available collateral, or you have to provide all available collateral. If there's a collateral shortfall, then that is not a reason for turn down. If there is collateral shortfall, we have to look at the equity in your personal residence. If your personal residence has sufficient equity, we may require a lien on your personal residence as well as all of the business assets. How much do you have to put down for a startup? So in our policy, it says that you have to have a 10% equity injection. I have people call my office all the time and they're like, I want to get a $500,000 loan and everybody's telling me I can't get it. And one of the first things I ask is, how much money do you have to put down? And if it is a startup or a purchase, the SBA says you have to have at least 10% to put down. And that's for our 7A loan program. Micro loan programs may vary, but I'm going to talk to about those here in a minute. All right. So I've talked quite a bit about the 7A loan program. This has some more information. This link has more information on it. It's all available on our website. Lakin, are there any other questions in the chat from what I've gone over? Do you think I've missed anything? Do you have any questions?
No, I don't see any. I don't have any. You're doing great.
All right. Speed's good. Am I going too fast, too slow? Just right?
You're keeping my attention just fine.
All right. So the 7A loan program is our flagship program. Most of our loans are made through the 7A loan program across, like, I would say 90–95% are in the 7A loan program. These loans can be used from anything for buying real estate, like I said, to equipment purchases, to working capital. The 504 loan program is a bit more specific. It is for larger loans typically. They provide the SBA portion has a long-term fixed rate, and you're still required only to put down 10%. Typically not for startups. However, new business programs can fit in there. So if a business expansion, company expanding, doubling their production or something, needs a new building and a bunch of equipment, the 504 loan program would be a good fit for that. So next I'm going to talk a little bit about microloans. So in Southwest Missouri, we have 4 SBA approved microlenders. Those 4 microlenders are New Growth Women's Business Center, if you are in their territory. So one of the things that I've developed in the last, I'd say, year here in Southwest Missouri is all of the microlenders now get together and we network. They share applicants, we talk amongst each other. I do this so that microlenders can learn from each other. We can market each other's meetings or programs, and if we're doing something like Farm to Fork, some of the other microlenders can pitch in and help send that information to their clients. And third, they're sharing applicants. So if New Growth were to get a application and it just wasn't a good fit for them, they have relationships with the 3 other SBA approved microlenders here in Southwest Missouri, and we get together and we talk about our program. So they might even have an idea which microlender might be a good fit for you. Microlenders do not have to go through the same SBA 7A rigorous policy. Microlenders have a lot more flexibility. They typically lend to people with lower credit scores than the 7A loan program. But the loan amounts tend to be smaller. So SBA microloans typically go up to 50,000. The average microloan is much lower than that. It's somewhere around 20,000. Here in Southwest Missouri, that number is even lower. I will tell you, I came to the SBA or during the pandemic. I would say I got a lot of calls from folks, and the folks that were most passionate, the folks that probably called me the most, were folks that were looking for a small amount of money to either grow their business or continue their business or start their business, but they just couldn't get there. And I will tell you, I get a lot of those calls to the office, and I tell them to go to the micro lenders. They fill a huge need here in Southwest Missouri. So New Growth partners with Forge. They're out of Northwest Arkansas. We partner with AltCap and Justine Peterson out of St. Louis. AltCap is in Kansas City. AltCap and Justine Peterson cover the whole state. New Growth, they have a much more restricted county coverage area. And Forge covers basically the southern portion of Southwest Missouri. There are about 2 or 3 counties up across the Arkansas-Missouri border. Greene County is included in there. They do a lot of lending in the Joplin, Greene County area, but they cover more than that. So these folks, remember I was telling you about criminal history. Some of them don't even ask your criminal history. Don't care. It's not on their application. So, you know, if you have a barrier to lending that you feel like you can't get over and your loan amount is a smaller loan amount, I encourage you to get back to the host, New Growth. Talk about this. They are happy to provide you the technical training and counseling. Remember I was talking about business plans and walking into a bank, a guy dressed like me wearing a shirt and tie and convincing them that's going to be a good loan. Micro lenders are a lot less stringent on having a well thought out business plan because they focus on these smaller loans and they realize these smaller loans are going to people who don't have, you know, days, weeks, months to write out a business plan and projections, and it just doesn't really kind of fit in their culture. They just want to get going. And so these micro lenders have programs, they facilitate that. Oftentimes their business plans or what they're asking you for can be done with a checklist or, 1 or 2 pages on how you think you're going to pay back the loan, and they get this done. It doesn't mean that they're going to do that for you. You still have to put in your fair share of work to get that kind of paperwork done. But, they'll go along with you and help you get it. They'll go with you and help you finish it, I guess would be the right way to say, and help you make tweaks on it where needed. Good. Yeah. All right. So Community Advantage is also a program that helps people with less than perfect credit. We do have one Community Advantage lender here in Southwest Missouri. That's Justine Peterson. There's some others looking to get into it. Again, if you're in New Growth territory and you're interested in something like that, give New Growth a call. They typically do smaller size loans, $350 and less, and they do provide some of the same technical training and counseling. However, Community Advantage loans may have additional fees or a higher rate associated with them.
We did have a couple questions in there since you're
awesome
switching slides. Can you have both 7A and 504 loan concurrently?
Yes, you can. There are limits, maximum limits to the amount of a loan that the SBA will guarantee. However, done applications where people got a 504 loan and a 7A loan simultaneously. 504 loans are typically used to purchase large real estate transactions, typically over $500,000 or more. The 504 loans are on a longer term, and they have limited ways that you can fund them. So sometimes if you are doing that, you also need money for shorter term equipment that shouldn't go on a 25-year term because it's going to wear out in 5 or 10 years. And nobody wants to put a vehicle in a, a 25-year term that just nobody thinks a car or truck is going to last 25 years. So oftentimes lenders split that. And yeah, you can get both at the same time.
And Michelle, if that doesn't answer your question, feel free to double up on that. Her next one was, do you know of any startup grants or similar that could help with the 10% down? I think that was in reference to the SBA loans.
I got it. So micro lenders don't enforce that as strongly. They do want to see some type of skin in the game. If your loan amount is smaller and you don't have that 10% equity injection, if that's the barrier, talk to a micro lender. I can get you, I have a list of all the micro lenders here in Southwest Missouri. I didn't include it in my slides today, apologize for that, but I'll provide it to Lake and she can send it out. Call the micro lenders if you're looking for a loan under $50,000 and you don't have the equity injection, and talk to each one and see where their what their requirements are as far as that goes.
All right, I think that was it. Michael just muted though. I think he's about to chime in.
Yeah, just a couple things. Just for the person that's asked the question, we can't recommend. If you're looking for a grant to help you with your 10% down for the 7A, that's something you have to find on your own. We can't recommend someone on that because again, the SBA for the 7A loans, they want to see that you've got the funds to be able to do a loan. We personally, the SBA does not have a grant program for that, but I know maybe the state of Missouri, maybe wherever you're living at, the city, they may or may not. So you have to work with them specifically. Hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Mike.
She said it did. Thank you, Michael.
What else, Lakin?
That is all. I did want to touch on microloans. As you said, New Growth does them. And something that's nice about when you work with us, I specialize in the business plans, which I know I said in the beginning. We just had 2 microloans go through this week. We closed on them yesterday. And it was cool because I got to assist in the business planning piece of it. And then when we went to present to committee, I was there listening and I knew all those extra questions that maybe the business plan didn't state. So I got to answer those live, which helps versus the bank where it's a room full of strangers that don't know anything about you. I had made those connections. So that's one benefit to working with like New Growth or the SBDC, who's got their in with their microloan funds.
Absolutely. So micro lenders, maybe I didn't touch on it enough, are not-for-profit institutions. They are they typically have so like for example, New Growth, they focus on rural folks in the area, and so even though they are a women's business center, they help everybody no matter the gender. So that's don't let perceived barriers be real barriers. Sometimes we think we can't get something done for because of something like this. Reach out and talk to someone like Lakin and see if you can get over the hump. We do have Lender Match. Lender Match is a free online referral tool, no cost to you, funded by the SBA and your taxpayer dollars. You can go on there, put your information in. It's sent out to a bunch of lenders that have subscribed to the system. If one of them likes your information, they'll email you back. You'll get their information. You can get they'll get your information. you'll get their information. You can email back and forth and kind of get some referrals that way. That's the way the SBA does it. If you want to get a referral from us, is this lender match. And I talked to this, a lot of my time is spent talking to lenders in the area, and I've grown the amount of lenders that subscribe to this lender match recently. And previously I've heard some mixed signals from it, but I think it's definitely something that is steadily improving. As more lenders get referrals out of it, the more they're going to pay attention to it and move forward. And the more that word gets out and says, I got this referral from Lender Match in the communities that we serve, the more people will use it. So Lender Match. So the SBA does have a lot of contracting and small business certification help. We have the 8A business development program. Some of the communities that are served by New Growth are actually covered by HubZone. HubZone is a locality based. If you are located in a HubZone region, you can get a HubZone certification, and that can help you get more government contracts. Women-owned business certification, service disabled veterans, small disadvantage, and there's a veteran business owner as well. The SBA can help you. The SBA does some of these. We also farm some of them out. If you're interested in government contracting and you think that you might qualify to get one of these certifications, reach out to New Growth, reach out. We have what's called a TTAC procurement officer here in Springfield, or you can contact me or one of my coworkers and we can help you through that. But excuse me, government contracting can be a good way to grow your business, especially if you are a small business and fit in one of these certifications. Sorry about that.
Are you ready for a question?
I am.
What % of the cost is available with the 504, 90%, 80, etc.?
So a normal business, an existing business that is not special use can typically get 90% financing. So in a 504 structure, one more minute, again, please. Sorry about that. In a 504 structure, the bank will do 50%, a CDC like RMI will do 40%, and then the business owner will inject 1%. And I probably have blur on my screen and you can't see my fingers, so sorry about that. 50%, 40%, and then 10. And that's how you get to the 100. If it is a startup business or it is a special use property, such as a hotel, gas station, special use properties, they start walking that number back. Haven't been in business a long time, they can walk that number back. When I was a commercial lender, I can tell you a lot of people, the banks would only finance 70-75% of these larger properties. If you got into SBA financing, they would do 80-85% of the property. Getting to 90% is a big deal for an existing business, helps the business owner retain more of that cash. And then remember I was talking about the 40% that the CDC does? That's on a long-term low fixed rate, which can be a huge benefit to a small business in fixing their, knowing what that is going to cost or taking some of the uncertainty of rising interest rates out of the equation of a property purchase. So in 2021, federal government spent more than $566 billion on prime contracts. We had set-asides of 23% for small business. So if you take that $566 billion, and I've been thinking about writing that, not as billion, but putting the zeros on there, because that's a lot of zeros. I will tell you, start thinking about it, hundreds, thousands, millions, and billions. It'd be 4 sets of 3 out there. That's just a huge number. If you take that huge number and multiply it by 23%, you get 154 roughly that went to small businesses. And if you are, so that's just going to small businesses. If you also qualify for one of these, there's additional set-asides for folks who meet those additional certifications. In the Kansas City District Office, there was over $1 billion in prime contracts awarded in this area. Doing business with the federal government can be a very good way to grow your small business. It's not something you can do as a startup, but if this is something you want to do, we have resources to help you. We also do bid bonds. This is something, if your business is going to a city, state, county, government, federal contracts, sometimes those government contracts, they want a different type of bid bond or performance bond or some type of bond. And you would go to your insurance company and get that. But sometimes your insurance company might say, this is a little bigger contract than I'm comfortable to do. If that turns out to be the case, if you click on this button, you can see a list of companies that are insurance agents that are licensed to provide insurance, do these bid bonds and guarantee bonds. They're SBA guaranteed that will typically do, again, guarantee deals that may not get guaranteed. So don't let the lack of being able to get a bid bond be the barrier to you getting that next government contract. Disaster loans, how are we doing for time? I'm running up, I got about 10 minutes left. I do want to leave some time for questions or some chat for either.
If you go over, you're fine. We always schedule them for an hour and a half. You're fine.
So I already talked about a little bit in Joplin when disaster hit there in Joplin, the SBA put boots on the ground. The people in Joplin remember this very well. Whenever I visit Joplin, they tell me that when disaster struck, the SBA was one of the people that were here with all the other federal government agencies that helped us get cleaned up. And I still talk to folks that have these loans. Sometimes they have this loan and they're in middle of it, and they're trying to do something, sell a house, release a house, and they're, trying to get something done with it, and they don't know who to call, and they're calling me, and they're like, yeah, when I got it, it was a lifesaver. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the SBA became at the tip of everybody's tongue. We wrote almost 4 million loans, economic injury disaster loans. We did a lot of PPP loans to small businesses, and most of those went to something like 90% of those went to businesses that had less than 12 employees. So a large number of small businesses benefited from the SBA providing these loans during the pandemic when, we didn't have super strict shutdowns here in Missouri, but other places in the country, like they turned into ghost towns overnight, and small business owners did not know what to do. Disasters happen, so we have checklists, other stuff on our website to help you prepare and learn, how to prepare for a disaster and keep you up to date with an action plan in case disaster hits. That is located on our website at sba.gov/prepare. No cost to you on that. Just resources that you can access. So locally, there's a list of small businesses that benefited from help with the SBA or started with help from the SBA. Lakin can tell you, the list is much longer than that. I looked into I was told, looked into some of the reports that New Growth has, and they help people get their business off the ground. and, get going? Will they become, the next Cabela's or the next Bass Pro? Don't know, but, there's only one way to find out. And I'm grateful for, the help from our partners to help these small businesses to grow, because it's a really big benefit to our communities. So, 2024 National Small Business Week, we have this thing where we nominate somebody for Small Business Person of the Year, Small Business Exporter of the Year. These are all Contractor of the Year. We have these things available, and these people get a lot of free publicity if they win. It goes to the state, it goes through our Kansas City district office, and then if they win, they can be national small business. And so, nominate, if you know somebody who would fit into one of these categories and you want to nominate them for 2023, get back in touch with me. Anybody can nominate anybody. And if you can convince somebody at New Growth, if they, a small business person of the year and you feel like doing, helping them get through this process or nominating them through this process, let us know, because this is something we do every year, and we'd like to see that go to, National Small Business Award go to a local business would be good for everybody. I have a feedback. You can take a survey, tell me how well I did, how well I didn't do, if I didn't answer your question, if I did answer your question, if I didn't smile enough, whatever it is, please let me know, good or bad. If there's something you would like me to cover more in depth, I'm going to stick around for questions here. Be happy to do it. I have some other material that I think I want to pull up and kind of show you real quick. And then, but yeah, feel free to do that. And then this is my contact information, my email address. You have the contracting officers. I talked about some of the contracting earlier. The contracting, my coworkers that do the contracting are Carolina and Aubrey. And I have Jamila and Sheila who do some of the outreach. Sheila does a lot of the National Small Business Week stuff. And Michael Barrera is on the call today. So grateful for that. I've taken a list. I talked a little bit about the SBDCs. I have their phone numbers here. You can go in if you want to start your business. They have checklists to help you do that. You're not being disloyal to New Growth if you started out as a client of theirs and go to the SBDC and get some from them and then come back to New Growth or however that works. We all work together. The SBDCs are promoting some of these presentations. I've asked the folks that work at MSSU or the Joplin SBDC, however you'd like to say it, they're number 9. So I've asked the people at number 9 to help me advertise the Farm to Fork event that's going on in March. You can see there are locations all across here, Southwest Missouri, and there's one right over here in Kansas that's not on this list. But that's my presentation today.
I know, I sure thank you, Christian. That was good information and good questions, guys. Thank you for keeping it interactive. Do we have any more questions? Getting lots of thank yous.
It's good.
He did touch on the Farm to Fork event. That is March 3rd in Nevada, Missouri. I think it's a great resource, whether you're a farmer or a small business. They kind of touch on both. It's cool to see the local goods that are being produced, the inventions that some of these people come up with that better their lives every day or make things more accessible to the community. And we're going to touch on lots of things related to that. I should have attended more Farm to Fork meetings and I could tell you exactly what's on the lineup, but I know that it would be a good resource for some of you to attend. It would be good networking. And we look forward to seeing everyone at that. If you're interested in exporting, the New Growth Women's Business Center's next webinar is on March 9th at 12 p.m. Lunch with Lakin. And it's going to be on exporting. It's presented by the MU College of Business, and we look forward to that one as well. Also, the Start Here Network, which our Start Here Network involves people from the SBA, the SBDC, New Growth Women's Business Center. We all partner together and get together each quarter, I believe, is our regular meetings, but we talk a lot more often than that. We have a webinar coming up and it's called Welcome Wagon for Rural Revitalization. It's a Start Here webinar. So Patty Cantrell will be hosting that one on April 3rd, and that's at 1 o'clock. So put those on your calendar. Check out the New Growth website for all of our upcoming webinars. Yes, the email will be sent out with slides and the recording that was asked in the chat. We will get those to you, and you can always view. New Growth has a YouTube channel that all of our past webinars are on, and this one will be up hopefully by the end of the day if I get on it. If not, it'll be up next week, and you can view all the past webinars there. Slides will be on our website, as well as I think he said they're on the SBA's website. So any more? Our YouTube channel, I actually have our last webinar in a chat. Let me put that in this chat so you guys can have that easily. I am not the YouTube guru, so I'm not good at our handles on that end. Copy link. Okay, I put our last webinar in the chat here if you want to reference that. It's a great resource. Do we have any other questions, especially for Christian? I know he's a busy guy.
I tend to be. I put up the, these are the 4 SBA approved micro lenders that I was talking about. You can see some of them have a little bit larger of a maximum loan amount, and I will give this to you for distribution along with the slides that go out. Perfect. I was getting questions about the down payment. You can see some of them are saying none. So a lot of these, when we talk to them, they'll say, I'll say, what's the best way for a client to approach a micro lender to get this done? Email, set up an appointment with them, talk through them. These are the 4 SBA approved micro lenders for Southwest Missouri. I've not left anybody out of this list. It's a comprehensive list for them as far as micro lenders go. If you're looking for a larger loan, you will need to do some work to get a good business plan and projection done. I can't stress that enough, because you really have to go into that meeting to answer those questions. Like Lakin was talking about, she knew them during the credit meeting, but yeah, if you don't have those questions down or know what they are and you walk into that meeting, chances of you getting a yes from that loan officer are greatly diminished.
I did assist in writing those business plans though, so I had the I had the information.
You had it down.
I think it's also should be noted that we help write those business plans. That is typically your first step before you try to get financed, because first of all, you want to know if it's going to work. We want to know if it's going to work, and the bank definitely wants to know if or why or how it's going to work. So get a hold of any SBDC or definitely us if you're in our service area. You will work with me specifically. I've taken over all the live plan business plans, so can't stress enough how important planning is in the first steps of getting financing.
I have talked to some people and we talked through some of this stuff, and a lot of times when people go through the projections and they're like, oh, I didn't think of that. And their ideas, and they either have to change their idea or abandon that one and find a different one, but sometimes it's difficult
It's always
to
those little
to
things like
do that.
tires on your vehicle or oh, I'm driving 1,000 miles a day. I'm gonna need tires regularly. What? So that's something that sitting down with a business coach can help you come up with every little thing and then draw out a solid business plan.
All right.
I don't see anything else in the chat.
I'm looking back through the comments and I appreciate Nathan, Renchelle, and that's Lake and Samantha, Michelle. I do appreciate all of your comments, and I'm grateful for your participation. Small businesses, like I said at the beginning, are the backbone of the American economy, and the country wouldn't be, as like it was without you. The economy wouldn't be like it was. They're truly the backbone of innovation and economy for the country, and for that I'm grateful. Like, and I'm grateful for you for hosting this, keeping it together, helping me with the chat, and inviting me. It's great.
We appreciate you. Sorry, Samantha. Yeah, if you just want to get a hold of New Growth, we can definitely get you in the direction of someone in your area. You might be in ours. We cover CAS now, or can cover CAS if need be. So definitely get a hold of us and we can point you in the direction of resources in your area.
Yeah, New Growth has done a good job of filtering people to the correct, if they're not able to do it, they've been very good at referring people to there.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to us for sure. We can get you, if we can't help you, we definitely have resources in that area. And Christian, I thank you so much for this presentation. It has been wonderful. I've learned, I'm sure everyone else has, and we look forward to working with you again.
All righty. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Michael.
Oh, Michael, I didn't know you were still here. Thanks for attending.
Good job, everyone. Thanks so much.
Last word.
No, just a great job, everyone. There's so much information there, but there's so much help on that. And I often tell people this, why should I look at all this stuff? My response, your competition is. So you want to keep up and stay with them. And we need you to do well. Our economy needs it. Southwest Missouri needs it, and your families need it. Thank you so much. And I look forward to working with everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon.